afternoon and welcome to this edition of Market Day here on LNTV. Market Day is the program on which we bring you all of the happenings in the Liberian economy. My name is Jab Davis, and stories we are following on the program today. A special task force from the Liberia Petroleum Refining Company, that's LPRC, towards several makeshift gas stations across Monrovia in order to ensure that these gas stations are applying, are in compliance with government stipulated price. Commerce Ministry reiterates that there is no shortage of petroleum products on the Liberian market as being perceived by many in some quarters. The Liberian government and the French Agency for Development, AFD, signed a roadmap for investment in Liberia. We are also going to be talking about copyright on this edition of the program. These stories plus more coming up. We're going to take a very short break. When we come back, we'll bring you details of all of the stories. Okay, welcome back to Market Day here on LNTV. We commence at the Ministry of Commerce and Industry, where the ministry has announced that there is no shortage of fuel or petroleum products on the Liberian market as been perceived by many in some quarters, according to the Minister of Commerce and Industry, Honorable Wilson Tape. The ministry and the Liberia Refining Company have been working closely with petroleum importers to ensure the uninterrupted supply of petroleum products in the country. On Monday, he told a press conference that 30,000 gallons of fuel were lifted on Sunday morning and distributed to some, spots across the country.
As we speak, we have a significant quantity of the supply on the market. On yesterday, our closest collaborator, which is the Liberia Petroleum Refining Company, opened its doors to make sure that gasoline was being dispensed from their tanks. Even though it was on a Sunday, we want to thank the management under the able leadership of Madam Pearson, Yimande Pearson, and the entire staff of LPRC for the close working relationship we have. So yesterday, on Sunday, about 30,000 gallons were released in addition to what the market already had. Today, a tanker carrying 12,000 metric tons, approximately 1.4 million gallons, which is equivalent to 10-day supply, berthed last night, and by the close of the day, it should complete discharge. We are informed by Total that on Wednesday, another vessel is coming in with 4,000 metric tons. That is approximately 1.4 million. As a matter of fact, the 12,000 metric ton is about 4.8 million gallons. The 4,000 metric ton is about 1.4 million gallons. And that should be sufficient to carry us throughout the season around the middle of January.
That's Commerce and Industry Minister Wilson Tape. Well, a special task force from the Liberia Petroleum Refining Company, LPRC, Tuesday towards several gasoline facilities in an attempt to ensure that the petroleum sellers are in full compliance with government stipulated prices. The team led by LPRC Malaysia Director Yimande Pearson towards Central Monrovia, Gardnersville, Caldwell, and other communities. Let's take a look at some of what happened in the field on yesterday.
Extra $100 when you add to it. You got in the drum?
from the field on yesterday when the special task force from the LPRC toured some areas to ensure that those makeshift gas stations are in compliance with government stipulated prices. Well, following the tour, we spoke to the Deputy Managing Director for Operations at the LPRC, Bobby Brown, who told ELBC that that will not be done for only Montserrado County. It will also be done for other counties to ensure that gasoline sellers are in compliance with government stipulated prices.
The essence of that exercise was to ensure that the price, as has been determined by the Ministry of Commerce and the Liberia Petroleum Refining Company for the petroleum product, gasoline and diesel fuel, is being adhered to. Too many complaints coming from our people across the radio stations. We hear our citizens are complaining that they are buying gas beyond the stipulated price. And so it became important that we go out and see why these things are happening. And interestingly, you were part of the team and you witnessed precisely what occurred. Indeed, people are hiking the price unnecessarily, selling beyond the approved price, mostly at multiple makeshift stations, taking advantage of our situation and harming the people to make the government look very, very unpopular. So we make this round. The past 7 hours we were able to have some awareness, citizens being aware that the price should be fixed, especially for the gasoline product at $580 Liberian dollars per gallon. Areas where we saw them selling beyond the price, we stood there and made sure that they sold at the price. People that had the product and insisted that they didn't have, we locked the reservoir tanks, and so in some instances we had to confiscate products. The witness is not just a one-day thing. In fact, before today, we as LPRC we put in place a task force that goes out into the field day to day, and what we initiated today involving the senior management of LPRC is going to be an initiative that's going to be spread out to the counties. Today we took the greater part of Monrovia and across the bridge. In subsequent days we're going to be going out, venturing out into the Leeward counties. Our actions are not going to be restricted only to Montserrado. We heard situations in Banga, Nimba, and we are definitely going to get out to ensure that the price as determined by the government of Liberia is respected in the petroleum sector.
Bobby Brown is the Deputy Managing Director for Operations at the Liberia Petroleum Refining Company, that's LPRC. Liberia's pro-poor agenda continues to receive more boosts as the Liberian government and the French Agency for Development, the AFD, signed a roadmap for investment in Liberia. The signing of the roadmap set the stage for the French to increase their investment in Liberia through the private sector and direct budget support. Speaking at a signing ceremony at the French Embassy in Monrovia on Tuesday, Deputy Finance Minister for Economic Management Augustus Flomo expressed gratitude to France for its commitment to assist Liberia in achieving its pro-poor agenda.
Since the visit to Paris, you made a commitment, the French government made a commitment to the Liberian people, and since then you live up to that commitment. We received the first 5 million has been transferred as direct budgetary support to the government of Liberia. And now we are here today signing a roadmap that will support the PAPD, which is our pro-poor agenda for prosperity and development. And we believe that this signing ceremony of this roadmap wouldn't have come at a better time than this time after launching the agenda in October of this year. We continue to rely on the French government. Our economy is challenged, where the president has on top of his agenda roads and roads and roads. We cannot deliver education, health to most part of the countries with bad road condition. We are also looking at investing in economy in the private sector, driving the growth of this economy. And I believe that this roadmap, as we had the previous closed-door conversation, sets the stage of the French people making a lot more investment in Liberia through the private sector and also through their direct budget support.
Well, for his part, the Director General of the AFD, that's the French Agency for Development, Ramin Rouks, said France is committed to develop a pipeline of projects in Liberia in the coming years.
I'm extremely pleased to be here in Monrovia. President Weah honored France. It was his first visit last February outside of Africa, and it was for France. And at that time, President Macron and President Weah decided to work together for the common benefit of the people of France and the people of Liberia. And so I'm here
That's the Director General of the French Agency for Development, Ramin Rouks. Earlier was the Deputy Finance Minister for Economic Management, Augustus Fomo. Well, that's how we bring the curtains down on this edition of the news. We will take a very short break. When we come back from the break, then we go into our discussion. Keep tuned. We'll be right back after this very short break.
Some money has go cross the women that know that it's the day now. Early morning, 5 o'clock, the women that long term on their way out. Early morning, mama wakes me up for the market ground. Call me by my name and say, oh, Sergi Brano. In my mind, I go to rally Tamaki every morning. Yeah. Just to make me at least have some color, just for living. In my mind, I try to educate me for the better man like me. Working hard, while me papa gone downtown Monrovia. Maquideo, 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 maquideo.
Okay, so welcome back to Market Day here on LNTV. We are on your television every Wednesday by this time, and it's on this program that we bring you all of the happenings in the Liberia economy. Market Day is the economy on one platform. And as part of our discussions today, we'll be talking to Mr. Clifford Robinson. Clifford Robinson is the Deputy Director General for Copyright at the Liberia Intellectual Property Office, and he has some good news for artists out there. You are involved in the music business, the movie business. You are producing your books and whatever materials you are producing that you need protection. He's here with some good news for you that you can use to benefit from the work that you do. So that's what we're going to be be looking at on this edition of the program. Copyright is what we will be looking at on the program. Welcome to the program, Mr. Robinson.
Yeah, thank you. Jack, it's a pleasure being here.
Okay, we looking at the work that your office is carrying out as the copyright office there at the Liberia Intellectual Property Office, and the simplest definition we have for a copyright is a legal right to be the only one to reproduce, publish, sell a book, music or recording, movie, etc. for a certain period of time. And we're going to know how our artists out there, their agents, and can get, take advantage of this and be the only one that will benefit from the work that they do. So that's what we are going to be looking at. But first of all, how's the office?
Well, we are grateful to Almighty God. He has been helping us. It's not a strange office to us. It is an old background. And so it's nothing much. The only thing that we've been grateful is that we've been hoping to have a government that will want to work with the office in terms of giving it that support. And I think we are on a rightful trajectory when it comes to the proper agenda. We have been getting some of the backends from the Ministry of Commerce. Minister Tapia has been very fruitful because the board has just been constituted, so he was the only person that was on the ground helping us to make sure that we can do those things we need to do. And we are happy because we've gotten to some level now, which we think that there is a tunnel at the end of the tunnel. Okay. There's a light at the end of the tunnel.
Okay, so I know our musicians, our actors, our actresses out there will be keen, even our producers will be keen on this program today because they want to know what's in store for them. But first of all, I know all will start with them getting their work registered, whatever they are doing, whether they are involved into music, movie, it will start with them getting their work registered with your office or whatever channel they might use. So how can that happen?
Okay, the Liberia Intellectual Property Office is a newly established office because in time past you have the Liberia Copyright Office and then you have the Liberia Intellectual Property Office. But WIPO and WTO said that Liberia need to have one office called IP Office, which is the Liberia IP Office. And so therefore then the two acts were amended and then brought a new act, which is the Liberia Intellectual Property Act of 2016. Now it gave rise to the Copyright Office and that of the Industrial Property Office coming under one umbrella, becoming one institution. So you have the Copyright Department of the Liberia Intellectual Property Office and the Industrial Property Department of the Liberia Intellectual Property Office. Now to the issue of copyright, like you talk about, copyright is what we know. It's not just the right to sell. It's a right to original creation. Okay. That is what you create originally. That is yours. That is what we call your copyright. Your intellectual ability to have created something intellectually.
I make my proper music.
Yes, that's it. It should be you. It shouldn't be someone else's. And then you copy it and then you say it is yours. Okay? And what we're trying to tell the artists to do, which they've been doing in past time, but all of a sudden they felt frustrated, like others were saying, the government is not protecting our work. That's the reason why we are not registering. Now, what you need to know is that if the government is not protecting your work, you need to keep registering your work. Because in terms of infringement, when someone has infringed on your copyright, which is a violation of 7 years imprisonment or some 300,000 fine. Now, how can the Copyright Office come out in helping you in that case? Your work is not being registered. In the law of copyright, the Universal Convention says, whenever one creates a work, automatically that work has been registered as your work. But that is, like for instance, I have an email, I could do a song, record it, and then email that song to myself. Now, if Michael Jackson, the late, may so rest in peace, or let's say Timaya or P Square, because these are neighboring stars,
happens to use that song and put it into the music, of course, if that song is being copyrighted, I have a right to sue. But now the song is just with my very self. Government doesn't have anything on it. You haven't registered it. But then someone was maybe booming the song. Timaya was around, her friend, and loved the same something, and Timaya picks it up and put it into his song. And then here you go, Timaya is now making billions of dollars, and then you say, but that song is mine. You see, because this guy just came up with it now in 2018, and I made that song in 2005. So what do? You don't have any copyright registration.
And no evidence from you.
No, of course you have your evidence because
you have your copy,
you have your copy.
Yeah.
But legally, when it comes to legal matter, you are out of the picture. Now imagine someone, because all the internationals are different, because copyright violations is jurisdiction. It means that if you are in Conakry, Guinea, the law is different from the law in Liberia. You understand what I'm saying? If you are in China, it's different from here. Maybe you could sue someone now in China because of violation. Assumably, you have registered your work as well in China. And now the Chinese government is saying, well, for us, copyright violation is $50 million US. So you see how you have make good money, but you lose because the work is not registered. So that's why, as an office, we are going all out in trying to give the education to the public, to those who are authors, creators, those who found themselves in the literary and artistic industries. Whatever you have produced, come out and register.
Yeah, but Mr. Robinson, someone out watching this program now, I have my work with me. I want to register it. Where do I go? What do I pay? That might be one of the questions, or a few of the questions running through their minds.
Of course, it will, to some extent. I do agree with you. The office is ideally located at the housing structure at the Executive Mansion grounds.
Okay.
Right behind the Ministry of Internal Affairs.
Okay, that's Capital Bypass area.
Opposite Lace, adjacent Legis, and Small Arms. So it's just easy to find. Or you see, closer to the Ministry of Foreign Affairs. That's where it is. And the copyright fee is just small money. It's $40 US. Imagine you're going to pay $40 US to protect a work that you're going to be living with until you dies. And after your death, your next of kin or your agent or whosoever comes and take it for the next 50 years again before it goes to what we call public domain. Now, when it gets into public domain, it means that anybody can tap into it now. You, Jagna, can produce our music, you can read that story, you can do this, you can do that.
So after upon registration, I have that work has a 50 years lifespan before.
No, 50 years. It has lifespan with you first as an author,
okay,
or the producer, or the creator of the work, until you die. It will be living. You're not registering it anymore.
Okay,
it's one-time registration. So if you're 1 year old and you created that work, and then you die at the age of 150 years, that will still be your work. It's your original work. Nobody will tamper with it. Now, after you have died, you may have someone who's going to take after your work. Then that person comes into the picture, and the person has another 50 years to control that work until after the 50 years elapses, before anybody in the world can tamper with that work.
Okay, so let me just go to this one, because this is the one for which I asked you to come for us to look at. That has to do with this CMO that we talked about recently, the Collecting Management Organization. This is something that, according to you, will surely help artists to benefit from the work that they do. So give us an idea about this Collecting Management Organization, this CMO.
Okay, great. That's one of the good things you've just brought on the table. You see, unlike other countries, Liberia, the artists, creators are losing. They are losing big time, and the government is losing big time. Now, we have a lot of entertainment places around. We have people who are transmitting through the satellite. We have people who are downloading songs, videos, and then you, for instance, let me come to ELBC. ELBC have a segment where you play, where you entertain. It's not newscasting, it's not futures, it's not reading of announcements, but then you play videos, movies, musical, gospel, whatever it is. And then you have the area that you play audio, just music. Now, ELBC should have a log. For every song that he's played, being foreign or Liberian, you have to log that song. Okay? And there's a tariff that has to be paid for the songs you play.
ELBC will be responsible to pay that one.
ELBC, I'm using ELBC because that's all of the radio stations. I'm trying to break it down to the level.
Yeah, sure.
What brings in the CMO. And then this monies that you paid is collected by our group called the Collecting Management Organization. But they're not just going to go out and say, hey, ELBC, you are playing Tikamso Rabat music, or you play Zak and Jiba music, you have to pay. They have to be licensed by our office, the Library Copyright Office, specifically the Department of Copyright under the Library Intellectual Property Office. The license them, they are going to be trained as to the way they go about doing this thing. So, then we come to the public and give the public the education as to the scope of function. These monies are going to be collected. There's a percentage that will be going to that office, and the rest of the percentage goes to, another percent goes to government revenue, and the other one goes to the right holders. That is, Zak and Jiba produced Keep on Trying album. Okay? It's a popular song that I assume now is being played all around Monrovia, let's say Liberia. And then you observe that they collected about $30 million Liberian dollars. Zak and Jiba, their song is registered at the Copyright Office. So they are entitled to that collection. But if you, Takunji or Rabinas, your song is being played nationwide as well, it's one of the hits, but your song is not registered, you cannot get a share of that.
Even though, say, LNTV might be playing, say, Carabao music,
yes,
and Carabao music is registered, but Takunji music is not registered, so he's not going to be benefiting. Only Carabao is going to
benefit
from the CMO.
Yes, from the CMO. Even in fact, when it comes to these GSM companies, GSM companies are playing a ringback tune, and here you telling you giving Carabao, I don't know, I'm just saying something. I'm giving you $400 monthly for your ringback tune on a particular song. Let's just say maybe the Carabao song that is most popular. But then, if you look at the GSM company, has about maybe 5 million subscribers. You understand what I'm saying? And you're giving $400. Then you calculate the $400 times 12. Then we say no, it's unfair. What we do as a Copyright Office is to protect the rights holders, those who are creating. That's our responsibility. In fact, even before you sign a contract with an artist, the Copyright Office should be involved to guide the process, because people are using the artists, making money of the artists, and most of the artists, for instance, there are records. Maurice Dolly died. He's one of Liberia's most prolific, songwriter and vocalist. But then, how did he die? It was very sorrowful in a refugee camp. What became of Maurice Dolly? He's a dead being that nobody speaks of anymore. Because why? He was like Baltimore, a writer. So we want to wake up from our slumbers in bringing back what is right. Liberia signs a lot of treaties. We acceded to treaties, and we have the Beijing Treaty, we have the Swakopmund Treaty, we have the Marrakech, we have the Madrid, and all of these treaties are treaties that Liberia have acceded to, and therefore we are obliged as a nation, as a government, to do those things that are required of us doing. So this is why we are trying to formulate all of these things that are necessary. That's why now we are saying, look, it's been long that the CMO should have been in place. And the CMO has not been in place. Now we need to put the CMO in place so that government can have what they should be getting, and our artists should be getting what they should be getting, and then they move forward. I was in Namibia, and right in my face, an artist, one of the most popular artists, tuned his check of $70,000 USD and said that he was cheated in the process. And you know where he signed the money? It was from a CMO, they call it NASCAM. In Namibia, they got one CMO, it's called NASCAM. But he's well popular, and the government gave that CMO more protection. So the guy felt cheated in the process. You see? So if you're an artist, and for instance, you're working with ELBC now, but you have just one song that is just being a hit, and then you observe that at the end of the year, December, they call you and say, Jack Davis, please come over. You went to the CMO office and they say, well, we'll have a check for you. But before giving you the check, they're going to put you on the data. You will see all the songs that was played, which are the entities that came from, because it's an open, it's a transparent process.
Okay.
You see it and know that they didn't cheat you in the process, because it's possible they could cheat you.
Yeah.
You will make millions of dollars and then they tell you just make 100,000.
Yeah, I think when we spoke about this, I also brought up about a discussion between Miata Famulea. I spoke to her once on this same issue, and she even said, "Oh, I'm right now relaxed because in the UK, once my music is played, I just sit home and receive, you know, my royalties on whatever is played there." But the point is, organizing this CMO here in Liberia will require honesty on the part of these, you know, institutions. Like we mentioned, LNTV or ELBC will have to be fair enough to say, okay, since we are paying the money, these are the music we play, and this is what we have for them. So, what kind of tracking mechanism will be put in place to ensure that, yes, independently, beside what ELBC is saying to us or what the other stations are saying, we have this to prove that, yes, this is what happened?
Well, you know, we have softwares. WIPO and ARIPO have come up with some softwares that will give you. Maybe we'll say, can you use iPass? And you will train someone from ELBC that's going to use it. And it's placed in the system. So you, Jack, even if you don't log, that time will tell. Dave T. You play because it's an old song that most Liberians are not popular with. They don't know it because it was before the war. So you played it that day, and then you feel that other people don't know this song, so people are not going to even think that I played. It's going to register.
Okay.
So we give you the system, we put it into the system, and it works. Whatever you play, instead of using a manual login, it will be registering on your machine. So we have a lot of system we're going to put in place, and you will see it then. So it will be nothing where we're going to be. I say, you know, ELBC, we thought that you have played almost this song 10 times, and now you're telling us you play it once. So it's going to be there. It's a system.
So what contribution now will your office or the intellectual property office as a whole will need from government to, you know, ensure this? Because right now we heard the president saying that the market is the country is open for business, and all of these things are part of business. So ensuring that these artists benefit from the work they do should be part of what the government is intending to do to move Liberians from their poverty state. So what, you know, assistance your office will need in the immediate future to ensure that this is carried out?
Okay, the thing we need from government, we've gotten government support.
Okay, support
we're talking about monetary wise, but we're talking about government giving us the protection, giving us the backing, standing behind us to say, yes, we think you can do it. We are prepared to help you whenever you decide to take a step. So that is the first thing, because that office has been existing and government have not been coming forth. Whenever you try to, like one time I carried on what they call search and seizure, and at the end of the day they went to the court and things were taken back from the court. And I tried to, it was like, oh Cliff, you're doing well, but let it just be like that, you know, just leave that. And that is wrong. So this time we'll have a government that is forceful, that want to see these things done, because the government have a huge responsibility to its people. And that is the agenda of those of us that comes from the background of the CDC. We are there to champion the president's agenda, making sure that it wants to achieve. And it did not appoint some of us to just sit and just get a good salary and then we add like big guys, but we must make sure that his dream and aspiration must come to fruition. So therefore, in your own office sector, what you have that you think going to at least help that agenda to move it forward, that should be your concern. It will not be everybody who has some good things. But the artists, these guys are millionaires in their own way. But because of Liberia, the perception, oh, the artists, they are Corona guys, so let's just leave them, they are not serious group of people. No, of course they are. That's why the law says any intellectual ability, every creativity. So whether I just say, oh, la 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 la, bam, la la, bam, it's my recording.
You should benefit from it.
Yes, I should benefit from it. They say every intellectual creativity, we must encourage it. We shouldn't start criticizing. That's why many times you see I don't criticize a Liberian song. I don't criticize the movies. All we do is try to tell them, look, you can do better. You
and just point those areas that
needed. Those areas, yeah. Then they will move forward. So we are coming up with this, and there are other lot of treaties that we will want for the government to also help us through the House of Legislature, so that we can accede to these treaties. We have the copyright regulations, the new copyright regulations. That's one we also need, because it has been years now. We need to come up with some new regulations that will balance the sides. And we also need the WIPO performance on phonograms. The phonograms, they with this digital recordings and all of this stuff. For instance, here we have DSTV. What is DSTV contribution towards the artistic industry? What are they doing for them? You know what I'm saying? Now, all of the satellite recordings I've been playing, they'll say, oh, I'm paying bills. Of course, you have to pay your bill, but there are other entities concerned. You have to work along with them. You have to boost it up. We have the Beijing Treaty on audiovisual performance. Take, for instance, there's an artist coming in the country now. Nobody has gone to the Copyright Office to seek clarity of bringing this artist, because the musician union should get benefit from the artist that is coming. Or royalty should be paid, because this is the territory of the Liberian music. You are about to come to perform. You should pay royalty. The manager or whosoever is bringing that company should go to the Copyright Office and obtain a clearance. They are not doing that. If you step out, people are going to say, well, the guys are anti, they don't want to see, things, and all kinds of statements will be saying. I'm saying these things for tomorrow. When we start to put some of these things, we put our feet down, people shouldn't say you are wish hunting them. You have the Brussels Convention, relating to the distribution of phone, you know what I'm saying, covering signal transmission satellites. That was the Brussels. Whenever there are treaties, whenever you host a program from WIPO, they give you, your country, or specific stuff to come up with. What is going to be like, let's say Liberia, we're going to be hosting. We're going to be hosting the Administrative Council and that of the Ministerial Council. So we have two big programs coming up in November, the Liberian Intellectual Property Office. We're going to be bringing in almost 100 to 60 delegates from around the world. They're going to be coming here from all around the world, coming to Liberia in that program. So now what we're going to be coming up with is going to bear that name. Like I talk about, the Swakomo comes from, it's a Banju protocol.
Probably that might be the Kanta or the Monrovia or the Bento, something
like that, yeah. So that's how it is done. But to be frank, we have too much in this country. We just need to be focused, put our heads down, go in our closet, do the right thing, and we can get there.
Okay. Okay, so you are watching Market Day, and we here on LNTV. We are here every Wednesday by this time, and it's this program on which we bring you all of the happenings in the Liberian economy. On this edition of the program, we are talking to Clifford Robinson. He is the Deputy Director General for Copyright at the Liberia Intellectual Property Office, and what we're discussing today has to do with you artists, producers, agents, managers out there, how you can benefit from the work that you do is what we are talking about today on this edition of the program. We can squeeze in your calls if you want to be a part of it. You have questions, comments, recommendations, you can put that through on 0777-835-862, 0777-835-862. If you want to be a part, then you can have your say on this edition of the program, Market Day. But Mr. Robinson, let me just go back to, this claim you just mentioned, that some of the artists always say that, you government, you're not protecting their work. And it's something obvious that we see, boys on the streets just have their one laptop, and you bring your phone. Yeah, you bring your phone. I have Quadabot music. I have Takunje music. You want it? You pay maybe $10 Liberian, and I give you, you know, the one you want. You know, tackling this issue directly, I think, should be one of the priorities of your institution.
Yes, the last time we were in Grand Bassa, I went to Grand Bassa, trying to see how it looks like on that side, and I talked to them because, you know, about intellectual property at times, before we come out to enforce, what we do is that we give lots of information and create awareness so people can understand that, look, we don't just want to do this thing, but what you guys are doing is not actually good for the country, you know, and its people. And it's very, very wrong. I went to World Trade Center at Galley Street, and I tried talking to these guys, making them to understand that what they are doing is not good for our country. So looking at the hurdles that we have, and that's why we are bringing the CMO, and we're going to take it in the gradual process, because it's very, very difficult now to just deal with them, get them out of the market on 100%.
But the question might be too, whether you are capacitated enough to do that, because it will require probably a task force to go after these guys.
Yes, you have to have a task force.
Capacity is something else.
Have a task force. But it's not something that you're going to be chasing on the street, running some fight. It's just awareness creation and making them to understand, look, it's a good thing you're doing. You want to sell music, you want to sell movies, it's fine. I believe Canva Games is looking for someone who is going to be a marketer for a product. I think Abigail Vinton wants the same. Black Otto wants the same. Takunje wants the same. Rabinas wants the same. And I believe the movie industry too, their producers are there, like Jordan Collins, Matori Akosa Robinson, and you talk about people like Georgia Holder. They want people to market what they have. So therefore, let's do this business. You have your machine. This is World Trade Center. You have about 400 machines under your domain as the executive. Can you register with this entity? We charge each machine on a daily basis $10 Liberian, because you are downloading. You are not downloading, but some are downloading because they have internet connectivity. So you are selling. Now we know it's a livelihood. So let's do it this way. You get benefit, we get our benefit. Because when we tell them, hey, stop it, when we catch your machine with Caesar, they will go underground. And the underground is the worst, because you see on the market, but you don't know where it is coming from. So we put all of this together, heads together, we talk. Even like I was discussing the LPC, when they come here, they're not just going to come and say, look, from today you're going to pay this. No. It's going to be a bargain between the management and the CMO. And then you guys will arrive at something that you can start off with.
And another question that an artist raised, you know, he's not yet on YouTube. He's not putting his items yet on YouTube. But he tried to find out, and I told him I will pose that question to the necessary, you know, the requisite authority. How do I benefit? Do we have anybody in the country that when I get my work to YouTube, I can, you know, benefit from, why the world view it, you know? So I thought, I'd say, okay, I'm going to pose that question to Mr. Robinson. Probably he might have an answer to that.
Well, you see, the internet is one of the fastest means of promotion, but it's one of the most dirtiest, excuse me for such an expression, in terms of putting your work and not getting anything. YouTube may tell you when you give us, when you subscribe to almost 3,000%, that we start to pay you. So if you are unable to have 3,000 viewers or subscribers, you're not making anything. So let's assume you got about 500 person who has downloaded your song, and the money is in YouTube account. So when we reach the 3,000 before YouTube can start doing business with you?
Yeah, but they also want to know too. You are the eye on ground for them. You are the authority, quote unquote. So you should be able now to engage probably YouTube to say, okay, we have artists in the country. They need these artists need to benefit from this the work that they are posting on your website, and you know, you serve as a liaison between these artists and probably YouTube.
Well, no, that is not what we do. As you said, the Copyright Office was established on an act, and we have specific responsibilities. But that is why we're bringing in the CMO. But the CMO is registered with CISAC. CISAC is the head of all the CMOs around the entire world. I tell you, fun when you go to some meetings and you hear maybe a country like Poland or Netherlands or Denmark, and then they are telling you, well, for us, reprographic rights. Reprographic right has to do with those that do with, this paperwork, the labels who are photocopying, all of a sudden it falls under reprographic because they photocopy books. You know what I'm saying? And any work that has been produced in literary that they photocopy, so they have that reprographic right. And somebody is telling you that we were for reprographic right, we collected 350 million US dollar. How does it sound to you? It's like, wow, are you making fun? And then they tell you music, we got about 2.3 billion. This year, we even dropped. Previous year, it was more than that. And imagine Liberia, like, what can we say? We don't even have nothing. So it's workable, but we have to put it into categories. Now, what we intend doing is to have a establishment, which it has been established, but it has not been operationalized. Okay? So we want to operationalize the CMO now, and then when it starts, I can tell you, you will be shocked to hear that maybe artist has been called over to receive maybe 100,000 US a day, and so then you're going to be wondering, where are they getting this money from? You see, but it's step by step. With CISAC, CISAC can connect you to all other users around the world. These big time guys and whatsoever. And then from there you know how to work around and how things can be done. While the office directly, we can go there. What we can do here, we can deal with Lone Star, we can deal with Celcom, and all of stuff. If they are, maybe like Nigeria, Ghana, Sierra Leone, those countries, we can get it through their offices and work out things.
Okay, thank you very much for coming, Mr. Robinson, and trust me, we are going to have you on as as regularly as possible to ensure that we have insight on these things, to ensure that till we can establish this, probably establish this CMO, and our artists start, benefiting from it. We will keep knocking on your doors to make sure that you update us with all of what you are doing there at the Copyright Office. Thank you for coming.
It's a pleasure.
Okay, so that's how we end this edition of the program Market Day here on LNTV. We'll be here next week, Wednesday, with another edition of the program. But before we leave, these are the stories we follow. The Special Task Force from the Liberia Petroleum Refining Company, LPRC, towards several makeshift gas stations to ensure compliance to government stipulated prices on petroleum products. Commerce Ministry reiterates that there is no shortage of petroleum products on the Liberian market as being perceived in some quarters. The Liberian government and the French Agency for Development, AFD, signed a roadmap for investment in Liberia. Those are the stories we follow. We will be back here, like I said, next week, Wednesday, with another edition of the program. To that time, we've been having as guest the Deputy Director General from the Liberia Intellectual Property Office. He's the Deputy Director General for Copyright there at LIPO, that's the Liberia Intellectual Property Office. Clifford Robinson, he's been our guest on this edition of the program. On behalf of the entire production team, we say goodbye, and till next week, Wednesday, have yourself a wonderful time.